Guys, we got the bombshell testimony that from Carolyn Ellison that Sam Bankman-Fried was evil, 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 and he was illegally using customer funds to customer Bitcoin to sell and to drive Bitcoin price down to try to get it below $20,000. So we got to talk about, if it wasn't for this evil, evil man, how high would Bitcoin be right now? Now, let's actually look at the graph, because even though TA isn't very good at predicting future prices, it's actually pretty useful for looking at current prices. As you can see, this is the graph from Bitcoin from 2019 until today. Now, FTX incorporated back in 2019. It was founded in May 2019, so around here. And of course, I don't know how much FTX had to do with the first run-up. I don't actually think FTX had that much to do with the first run-up, because that was a lot of stimulus money coming in, and that's why we had the first run-up. So I don't think FTX really helped it to about 60,000. However, the second run-up was not based on organic volume. As you can see here, the volume was still dropping during the second run-up. Altcoins did not run up while Bitcoin ran up, which is kind of very strange, because altcoins usually do follow Bitcoins up. And the lack of volume for the second run-up leads to me to believe it's manipulation. So I think the second top here was manipulated by SBF because of the lack of volume and the fact that altcoins didn't actually run up. And I also think he manipulated it down really hard in the middle of last year. So what SBF did here was he probably took a lot of shorts, sold a lot of customers Bitcoin, and then pumped it back up and liquidated those shorts. Because you know that exchanges, especially one like FTX, are going to play the customers against themselves. So he had a bunch of customer funds. He probably just sold a lot of them, took some shorts, sold a lot of them, liquidated the longs, made the money, and then used the funds to actually buy up Bitcoin again to liquidate the shorts. So he got a double whammy and he made a lot of money in 2021, about a year before his company collapsed. Now, what I believe would have actually happened here is that it would have been more organic drawdown. I don't think you'd have this sudden valley accompanied by the sudden peak, because I do think this here was an SBF sell-off, and this was an SBF buy-up. So what I think, here it would have slowly went down from maybe 63,000 to maybe 55,000 or something in August, and then just continued more of a slow, with its own downs and ups, but more of a slow, even drawdown without SBF. It still would have gone down, because after every bull market, there comes a bear market, obviously. And the bear market generally is longer than the bull market. That's been proven in previous cycles. And I think it would have eventually drawn down already. It would have eventually drawn down anyways, because inflation was coming in 2021. And SBF wasn't really the cause of inflation. That was like Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and Donald Trump printing all that damn money. That was why we got the inflation at the end of 2021. I think they printed something I know Barack Obama in his 8 years put us in I think $7-8 trillion worth more of debt. Donald Trump in 4 years put us in $7 trillion more of debt. And then Joe Biden, I think in the last couple of years, put us in $3 or $4 trillion worth of debt. His term's not done yet, so he's probably going to end up spending $5 or $6 trillion, putting us in debt. So the thing is, that was because of that. But the thing is, after that, I definitely think Sam Bankman-Fried from November 2021 really decided to sell down. Now, the Russian war thing didn't really happen until February of the next year. So I think a lot of the sell-off, the precipitous drop-off here, partially because of inflation, but partially because of SBF. I think without SBF, it wouldn't have dropped nearly as fast. And I think he kind of just lost control here. But remember, SBF was also dumb. He didn't realize that a lot of the companies that he was working with, that he actually put funds into, actually depended on the price of Bitcoin to stay afloat pretty well. So by actually liquidating a lot of those longs, he actually made 3AC go down. Now, of course, he was still here in the Terra Luna fiasco, and he made it go down. But the problem is this drop right here was also devastating for FTX as well, because Celsius 3AC, they also went down, and SBF actually had a lot of money in those companies. So they ended up losing a lot of money. So he definitely wasn't playing 3D chess. He was more playing 1D chess, and he lost a lot of money. But I actually don't think these companies would have actually collapsed without SBF. So I think we would have steadied around like, 40,000 or 35,000 without SBF. And I definitely obviously the FTX crash would have actually never happened without SBF, but you have to look further than the FTX crash. The Terra Luna crash wouldn't have actually happened. And there wouldn't be such a huge sell down for 3AC and Celsius. So this crash from around 45,000 to 20,000 would have actually never happened without Sam Bankman-Fried. And definitely the crash from 20,000 to 15,000 would have never actually happened without Sam Bankman-Fried, because none of those companies would have actually went down. Terra Luna probably wouldn't have actually went kaput without SBF. Same thing, Celsius, 3AC. That whole avalanche last summer would have actually not happened. So I do think Bitcoin would have actually settled down above $30,000. And remember, Carolyn actually said that Sam told her to keep selling customer BTC as long as the price was actually above $20,000. So there wouldn't have been the sell pressure from SBF and FTX as well. And there wouldn't have been that manipulation. So I do think prices would have drawn down because of the macroeconomic conditions and because of the Russian war. But I don't think they would have been down nearly as much in that instance without FTX and SBF. And I think they would have remained around 35,000 or so. And I think 30,000 is the bottom that it would actually went to without FTX and SBF. Now, that's important because I do think that's kind of an equilibrium price. And especially with the ETFs coming up, I think we'll at least get back to that price soon. And that's why I don't really think we'll drop too much more from here, because ever since we dropped to 15K, I think Bitcoin has been screaming to get back to its equilibrium price, which is actually way, way higher than the tens or 20,000s. That's why we're lingering around 27,000 right now, because there's still a lot of doubt. And also obviously the interest rate stuff coming in from Jerome Powell has people nervous. But with the ETF stuff coming up, I do think we will get to that equilibrium point or even above that equilibrium point. In fact, due to the ETF stuff, I think we should be well above that equilibrium point of about $30,000 to $35,000. I think we've been trading below the equilibrium point for a long, long time. And that's why Bitcoin this year, after last December, has basically followed has basically increased by a lot. Now we've kind of flatlined since this summer in about June. And I think that's a little bit of the drawdown because of the tense economic situation and the shenanigans that the SEC has actually pulled off. But the reason why I don't think we're going back to 15,000, 16,000 is because we're still way below that equilibrium point. And below that equilibrium point, we actually have way more upward pressure than downward pressure. So because of that, Bitcoin is probably more destined to go up than to go down at this point, just looking at the graph. But yes, Sam Bankman-Fried, aside from giving regulators an excuse to actually prosecute crypto, which is complete BS, obviously, because they actually prosecuted the wrong people. They've been too busy going after Ripple, Coinbase, and Binance, which did not actually lose investors any money, and forgot about Terra Luna, Celsius, 3AC, and especially FTX, which were the ones doing fraud. In fact, Gary Gensler was completely bamboozled by Sam Bankman-Fried. He did not actually regulate him well enough. He also might have been his lover, so there's that. We don't really know if that's true or not. But I heard rumors that was true, but of course I hear a lot of rumors online that aren't true. So that might have been the case as well, why he didn't actually go after SBF. But the thing is, for SBF, I do think he caused the market to drop maybe 15, 20,000 more at its bottom than it was supposed to drop. I don't think any bear market has actually hit the top of the last bull market. So the top of the last bull market was 19,700. I think without SBF and FTX, it would have not come close to 19,700. It would have topped out at bottomed out at 30,000, or maybe bottomed out at 25,000 maximum without SBF and FTX. And for those specific reasons, I actually believe that we're just trying to get back to that number. And with the macroeconomic conditions slowly improving, we should be getting above that number. As soon as the Fed starts backing off on those rates, I do believe crypto will have a new wind because, crypto directly competes with bond and yields of bonds for investors' money. And when those bonds come down to 4%, 3%, 2%, investors are going to look to take up crypto again. Now, will the interest rates ever be at 0% again? Probably not. I think they're going to stick with the neutral rate of about 2.5% in the coming years. And it'll take us a while to get there. But Bitcoin is going to have growth because of the demand of these ETFs. And because I think it's already reached the bottom because the FTX shenanigans made us go way below the equilibrium point. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.